to the Cardiff International Film Festival 2021. So we are here at the beautiful entertainment hub of Wales, i.e. Cardiff. Who loves Cardiff more than me? I don't know. But, oh, that's better. Thank you so much. That's great. I can hear myself now. So today we have the screening of the film Save the Cinema, directed by the wonderful Sara. Welcome, Sara. It's lovely to have you all here with us today. And I have to say, the atmosphere is wonderful, and I can't wait to see this film. I've been reading up all about it, and it honestly sounds so inspiring. And I actually performed in the Lyric Theatre myself, so it's very, a fond memory for me to have filmed and performed there as well. So it's a lovely theatre, so thank you, Liz Evans, for saving it. Right, so the film is actually inspired by the extraordinary real-life events sparked by the tenacious hairdresser Liz Evans, who's played by the wonderful Samantha Morton. Save the Cinema illustrates how the resolve of a small Welsh town, Carmarthen, inspired the magic of cinema and was able to bring Tinseltown to their doorstep. And I also have a message on behalf of the CEO of Cardiff International Film Festival, Mr. Raheel Abbas. And he says to everyone, thank you so much to everyone for your continued support, and that this year, Cardiff International Film Festival has celebrated and completed its 6th year. So without further ado, I think we should get this screening rolling. What do you think, guys? Yes, I'm dying to see this film, so let's rock and roll.
There's crew and cast here, so would you stand up? We want to give you an applause.
Oh yes, please.
Everyone, please stand up. And Liz's story deserves to be told, and people, I think, obviously, we all think, like people that don't usually get to have their story told about them, it's really important that that happens, and that communities like Carmarthen continue to exist because of everyday heroes that are the real heroes.
Definitely, and thank you so much again. So, first question I have for you, because we will pass it over to the audience, but I have one or two questions really quickly. How did this all begin? Why were you inspired to create this film?
Lorraine, wasn't it, Mark? You can say more than I, really. But Mark, stand up and say how it got to our producer.
I think this microphone is hired now.
Oh, yeah!
Sorry, I don't know if anyone actually heard my emotional speech. It might have just been to Sara.
I used my Guildhall training.
There we are.
There we go.
Hello, I'm Liz's son, so my mum's story. I think it all came about, lockdown, the very first lockdown, all our work disappeared. I'm an opera singer, and we were suddenly stricken with nothing to do, really. And this story of my mum and the Jurassic Park story, my brother and I had told in many after-dinner speeches, and we'd carried with us for years. And I wrote a treatment, just a one-page treatment, and a very dear friend of mine, one of my best friends, Lorraine King, who's down as story, she wrote the script, and the script, within 6 days, was given the green light, which is unheard of. And I thank God, and wherever else, but Sara got hold of the script. And she held that script as close to her heart as what she could. She embraced the people of Carmarthen, and she took my mother's story into her heart. Look, and I sat there, I said, for the first 10 minutes I wasn't moved at all, because I was going, that's not the bloody story. But you know what? It has such heart, has such soul, and that's what my mother believed that theatre does for us all. And I can't thank you enough for looking after that story and for presenting that today. And leaving her story live on and sharing it with the world. So, diolch yn fawr both.
there a reason you released this now and made this now?
We were very lucky because, as Mark just said, that Matt Williams, who's the main producer, heard from Mark and Lorraine and took that idea to Sky, and Sky went, we want it, we're doing it. They absolutely just went with it, which, as Mark said, is completely unheard of. And obviously it's like, you know, subject to cast, so we had to cast it, but they were always behind it. And I do believe Liz was with us. And the other thing that happened, that Mark was the reason why it happened, is in it we did Oliver. And I used to know Lionel Bart really well, and he wrote Oliver, and he was my mentor when I was a kid in London. So Mark rang and got hold of...
We couldn't get any of the royalties.
No, we couldn't get... Well, there's never... And they had never, ever given... Janus Films had never given the royalties out. Once for a small thing for Red Nose Day, Children in Need, and that was it. And Mark spoke to them and told them all about his mum. And we had been told that he's a real hard businessman, this man. There's no chance.
There was a Skype call. I'm interfering now.
There is a second mic floating somewhere.
But there was a Skype call at one point, because they wanted Oliver, and on the Skype call I had Cameron McIntosh, Andrew Lloyd Webber, and the guy who's in charge, the MD of the Real Useful Company, all in a Skype call, and they said, well, you know, this is going to be like 100,000. So we've got no money, but we're going to rehearse it tomorrow. They went, we haven't got the rights yet. I said, no, you need to sort that out, because we're doing it.
Well done.
And then the next thing I said to Sara, we've got it. She goes, how? And how much does it cost us? Don't worry about it, it's sorted.
And they didn't charge either.
There was no charge at all.
They just did it for Liz.
Oliver and Superstar were both given because of the story, because my mum had also spoken to them over the years, and my mother never paid for anything. I said, you know, she rang you and asked you for the show years ago, and when you told her that she couldn't do Superstar because we were in the West End, she said, that's fine, but we start rehearsals on Monday. She just ignored them all. So we kind of did a similar thing, and Oliver and Superstar arrived. And we were kept being told that there was other people we had to contact, and Sara would just say to me, well, make another call. So, sorry,
I guess you can go on, it's absolutely fine, it's really interesting. So, you filmed in some beautiful locations, Larne for example. Do you think this film is going to put Wales on the map even more so now?
This is the gentleman...
Hello, Mr. Cinematographer Hamish. Nice to meet you.
I hope so. I mean, what a beautiful place Wales is. I mean, I live near Oxford, but I obviously coming down to the film, to come down and spend 3 months down in Carmarthen, got to see Tenby, went all over Pembrokeshire. What an absolutely stunning, beautiful film. So I really hope so. I think so. And it's a sweet film, and obviously, you know, going into the Lyric Theatre for the first time, what a beautiful space it is, what a beautiful place it is. And you know, when I started working with Sara, I think what we try to do is, as you can see in the film, is it has some amazing theatrical lighting that's all still there, that we used on all the stage productions, and it's all the real Lyric Theatre lighting. And we also had that lovely scene with Jonathan Pryce and in the projection room, with the original arc light projectors there, which we managed to get going as well. You know, the old carbon rods where they actually attach and you create a light. It's fantastic. So we did sort of real projections for How Green Is My Valley, and tried to do as much in camera as possible. And I hope it's sort of slightly, some of the scenes are slightly more theatrical than they probably would be, but I think that's part of the fun of sort of saving the cinema. There was this idea of memories and movies and smoke and light and
I don't want realism, I want magic.
I don't want realism, I want magic. So yeah, I mean it was great. We had a fantastic time. The people of Carmarthen are amazing. I mean, it was tricky with COVID, but we got through it, and I was just so blessed to be asked to come and do it. And I would come do another film in Wales. Yes, please.
Oh, did you use any of the locals for supporting artists?
We wanted to so much. Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Here's one.
Yay! Unfortunately for me, because I absolutely love doing that, and unfortunately because of COVID, we were restricted. We were, the best was in the cinema when there was, it said in the script, 300 people. We had 20 people and a few dummies. So we had to shoot it like that. And if you see, I mean, you will notice. I definitely noticed that outside, you have one person like walking like that, and that's it. Because I love when supporting artists and local people. But then there was a time when we went back to pick up the audience, because we just didn't have an audience to turn the camera this way when we were doing our musical set pieces. So afterwards we came back. And by that time, the lockdown rules had changed enough that we were allowed, I think, 20 or 40 people had gone up. So then we begged and begged and begged, and we were able to get local people to come in. And we got a couple to even come from Pontycummer, where my heart and roots are as well. And so they came up. And then the only other thing that happened is when we did the thing, Alfie was the guy in charge of it. When we did the audition scene, we didn't tell the kids. There was 2 kids there, that the ones like that were in there. The ones that I don't want to be in here.
I don't want to do this.
We didn't tell the kids that they were in the film. We told the kids they were auditioning for the film.
Very clever.
And those 2 kids we found outside the cinema. The ones that were like, I don't want to be here.
Rosy-faced children.
Yeah.
So adorable.
And so when she said that, she really meant it. She was utterly terrified. Utterly terrified.
Good acting.
I know. So then after we'd shot the scene, she was crying because she didn't think she got in, because she didn't know the words. And the poor little lamb, my poor little thing, I was in charge of torturing the poor girl. So I went afterwards, and I said, guys, I didn't want to tell you, but you're in it. And I told her that we were filming you to be in it, and you thought you were auditioning. And she was like, honestly, oh my God. So she went, she went, we had to pull her off the ceiling then.
Fantastic.
But they were I mean, if we weren't having, look, we were so lucky to have this be, it's only because a lot of people got around us that we were able to make it at the time of COVID. But the answer to your question is, no, I would have peopled it a lot more with local people, but we just weren't allowed.
But you filmed it, and that is a triumph, so congratulations.
Yeah.
One last quick question before we move to the audience. What's coming up next for you? Do you have any
Well, I
projects
like
coming up?
to not talk about the future. I like to just put all our heart and soul in this.
Yes.
And I think, I think if you can just, in life for the young people, just do that. Do your
I
best
agree.
now, and let the rest look after itself. And
Time goes on way too fast.
it does.
I've
So,
learned that since 2020.
exactly.
Well, thank you so much both for
Thank
joining us. It's been
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Do we have any questions from the audience? No questions? It's all very silent.
How emotional do you feel now?
Hello?
How emotional does he feel now after seeing
Yeah,
that?
I think it's the end, because the Jurassic Park...
Mark, do you want to come up? Come up, Mike.
I think, yeah.
Sorry, am I being
No. Direct. You can take the microphone, that's
So-
absolutely fine.
The 3 of us actually going on tour, right? Okay.
I can imagine.
We're on Great Norton tomorrow night. Yeah. How emotional. I think the last 15 minutes, because the Jurassic Park part is right, and her changing the clocks. I think seeing my 2 brothers up there at the end as who they really are, I mean, that's quite emotional, because, everybody, we all work hard to get through life, and there's tricky parts, there's tough parts. I also, genuinely, hand on heart, Sara is more like my mum than Samantha Morton in many ways. There was one moment in Carmarthen, because we had to get licensing for the children, plus there was COVID. It was very, very difficult. And Sara would arrive on set with children that she'd found on the street, right? My mother would do that, and they'd say, Liz, but you can't have them because we haven't got a license. And Sara would say, never mind, find a license, they're in the scene, right? So that youth club scene, those are the 2 children. She said, I've walked down the street today and I saw these 2 gorgeous children with their mother. I've told them they're going to be in the film, right? And everybody, all the licensing people are saying, she's mental. We know she's mental, but she's gorgeous, right? And it was just that feeling, and I think, it was just moments, I think. There were certain lines there were certain things that were direct lifts. And
That's it, yeah.
that's, I think, for me, what made it emotional. But yeah, the Jurassic Park, and her saying to the kids, turn back the clock, because if we turn back the clock, we'll have the premiere. And, you know, Richard Goodrich was sitting next to me.
Yeah.
And,
Stand up, Richard.
he's,
The
yeah,
real
he's,
Richard.
he's,
Richard,
got to
where
get,
are you?
he's got to get a train back.
Oh.
But he not only was he the mayor and the postman, but he really put his heart and soul into everything that the town did. And, you know, it was Richard who emailed Steven Spielberg and sent the fax, and then they did ring my mum to the theatre. But yeah, it's amazing that that story now is there. Yeah.
I think at the end, when you get that John Williams score for Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
it's an emotional uplift.
It
It's
is.
kind of the way the last, as you said, that last section really does gets everybody going.
And I hadn't seen anything until today, either you buggers. Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing about licensing is we found on YouTube that real woman, and we couldn't get hold of her, and they were saying to us, no, you can't have that. You'll have to.
CNN reporter.
Yeah, the CNN
reporter,
reported that was real footage. So they said, no, we're just going to do it in a room and we'll get an actress. I'm like, no, we have to have it. We have to have it. We've got to find it. We've got to find it. And I kept ringing CNN. I saw it on Where to Ring. No one answered. And then Tilly, who works with our producer, said, well, what about your subscription to LinkedIn? Could you try that? And within 5 minutes, that woman was like, oh yeah, I've got a copy. Yeah, oh no, I don't have the original, but you can have the one off YouTube. You can have it, we'll give you the rights. So that's why it's so degraded, because it's only from YouTube. There was no library of it, but we got it.
That was the original, yeah.
I thought it looked quite raw, and I liked the raw.
That's
And also,
yeah.
at the end stuff with Princess, to see Princess Diana as well, it just shows what a big thing at that time Jurassic Park was. I mean, it was just beyond the beyond, wasn't it? For your mum to be able to.
But every newspaper came to Carmarthen, and they did say, Leicester Square, it's £500 a ticket with Princess Diana and Spielberg, with caviar and champagne, and in the lyric, it's £1 a ticket for popcorn and Diet Coke. Yeah.
That's so great.
And
We
the
should
mayor,
put that in.
Richard Goodrich, obviously led everybody in,
Oh, that's so
which
fun.
I just think that's brilliant. And yeah, thank
But
you.
I also really love
The scene with How Green Was My Valley, that's when I started going, I think, when everyone started standing up and singing. And what a great use of poetry as well, you know, do not go gentle into that. Everything was so Welsh and so real, and I absolutely adored it. Congratulations, really, really fantastic film.
Well, we had to take the edge off How Green Was My Valley, because, you know, in Wales there is a contentious thing about it. You know, it was made in Hollywood on a set, and you know, people with varying degrees of accents and things. But it's like, I did a little like survey, and all the older people up the valley were like, no, we love it. We love
Of course,
it. So
I'd go.
I was all right then. Once we got the okay, the approval from my friend Wendy, I was like, all right, I'm in.
Thank you, Wendy. And also just injecting Welsh humour into some really serious moments as well, where, you know, we're all on the verge of tears and then suddenly the policewoman says something hysterical. That's so Welsh, isn't it? Great, so
And she's
congratulations.
Sally Mally as well.
She's Sally
Sally
Mally.
Mally
I
as
thought
well.
I recognised her. I used to watch Sally Mally when I was a child.
Oh, there she is. There she
Brings
is.
me back. Wow. Any questions from the audience before we finish today?
I just want to mention a little story. I'm only here carrying bags.
I'm going to run. I'm running.
But yeah, just my daughter can stand up, Louisa. So
Stand up, Louisa.
Louisa was young Liz.
Yay!
It was the comment that you made about the twists and turns of life. Well, Louisa, in fact, the two girls were members of the choir, the Howell Girls Choir, and they sang with your brother to go compare man about 3 years ago, something like that. And then 3 years later, she's your mum. It's such a sweet coincidence.
Funny how life works out, isn't it?
It's great. There's so much talent in Wales, you know. It's wonderful that, and you know, being away from home so much now, you just realise how blessed we are. you know, that old thing about, like, to be born Welsh is not to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but to have music in, what is it?
Poetry.
Music in your
And
soul, art.
and poetry in your veins. And that's utterly true. And, you know, teachers are the most amazing thing. Like, the person, I can get emotional now. Because my teacher, you know, who taught us Welsh and music and acting was the person why I thought I could get out there and do it. And you come to Wales and it's everywhere, you know. And I'm still a little sad I wasn't born in South Wales, but there we are. Can't have everything. But Mrs. Evans, you know, who was our music and piano teacher and taught us Welsh. It's like that never leaves you, does it, eh? It never leaves your DNA, that we're so lucky to have this culture. And I knew I could do the film because that script was already there, and I chased it because I knew that I genuinely could tell that story, and that someone like Liz Evans, who made that the priority of their life to pass that on, is the riches that now more than ever I hope more people understand, you know.
And I think highlighting the importance of keeping the arts alive within the community for the youth is so important. I mean, look what it's done, look what it's achieved. You know, Wyn Evans, everybody, all of your family, they're fantastic, so musical and so talented. And can I just ask you a question, actually? Do you mind? I have a little question. So how was your filming process? Did you enjoy being on set?
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was like one of the best experiences because this is my first film and I really want to pursue this as a career, so I was so happy when I heard that I got the part, and it was like the best thing.
And what was your best moment on set? Do you have a favourite moment? That's a tough one, I know. Sorry. Or was it all the best part?
I loved it at the end when we all like stood in a line and then we went to bow at the end. That was
Emotional?
yeah, it was quite emotional. Yeah, it was definitely.
Oh, I'm sure you have really proud parents as well. They're sitting there beaming. Congratulations. Any other questions? Oh, there's one from Vivian. I'm going to run up here because I'm not sure where the second microphone has gone to. Hi, Viv.
Hello there, hi there. I just wanted to say that as a member of the Abergavenny Arts Festival, we've invited the Cardiff International Film Festival to have a presence there, and we really back you in keeping arts alive, especially in the community. And we're working really hard in Monmouthshire to do just that. So we'd love to see that film shown. It's such a heartwarming film for Christmas. Perfect theme for Christmas. I mean, it would get the tears rolling, but it's very, as Victoria said, you know, it's very Welsh, the culture's there, the poetry there, the literature's there. So I applaud it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's not an easy time, you know, and at the best of times, the creative process, you know, the creative pursuit is a difficult one, you know, but it's an important one, and certainly, you know, parents in Wales send their kids out to do it. We've got a couple here. We've got many people who believe that their children, you know, that this is a proper career, you know, and that we can do it. There's so much talent in Wales.
And there's a favourite phrase of mine, which I learned very recently. It's not just a passion, it's a profession. And I think that's really important for everyone to remember. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute privilege to show this film today, it's been an honour. And I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure everyone else here has a wonderful time. So thank you, and I hope you have a really safe journey home, wherever you're heading off to next.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.